I will start by opening the GitHub repo. I think it's under the video in the description, so you can just click on that. So we already started putting some stuff there in the outline. And you can see the outline here. So we already have like module 1, 2, 3. There will be a workshop for 5 and 6. The content is not ready yet, so we will be putting content there. Yeah, probably starting this week, right? So the content will slowly appear there, and there's already some existing content. So this we did a few pre-course workshops already. So there was one workshop where we built a simple Q&A system. So the video is already there, and this pre-course workshop is basically the module number one. So not module number one will be roughly, it will be quite similar to this workshop 0. And maybe there will be a few tweaks. I don't know if I'll re-record it or just chunk the workshop. But if you want to start already, you can watch this a simple Q&A system workshop, building a simple Q&A system workshop. And there was another workshop, which is not, it's optional. It's not obligatory to watch it, but it's about implementing a search engine. So, because in this course, we will talk about LLMs and RAGs, and RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. Basically, you can watch this video to see what is that. I talk about that more in that video. But RAG is about using search and LLMs at the same time. So knowing how search works also helps. And in this workshop, I talk about that, like how do you implement a simple text-based search engine and a simple vector-based search engine. So yeah, let's see if there are questions. So there are already a bunch of questions. So in this session, what we will do is you probably have some questions, and I'm here to answer your questions about the course. And later in a few weeks, actually, let me check when exactly. Now, on the 17th of June, which is in 3 weeks, I think, we will start the actual course where I will talk about the course logistics, the syllabus, the instructors, and so on. So you will also get a chance to ask questions there. And here we do it like a few weeks before. So then you also get to ask some questions before that, because on that stream, when we start, we will spend a lot of time talking about the logistics and all that. So here now you get a chance to ask questions. So if you haven't signed up to the course, there's this button that has white background, so it doesn't look good on dark background, but anyways, so use that button. It's not a real button, it's just an image to sign up for the course. And let's start with questions. So the first question is, other than Python, do I need to know anything about data science in order to better understand the curriculum material? So if we go to the course, we see the prerequisites. Comfortable with programming in Python, comfortable with command line, no previous exposure to AI or machine learning is required. Does that answer your question? So we will treat LLMs as black boxes. So we will not really cover the internals of them. So we know that this is the thing where you can send something, and then it's smart enough to reply with something meaningful. And this is what we deal with. Do you hear music coming from outside? So somebody is listening for music outside, and it's quite loud. I hope it doesn't bother you. Okay. Is this course need to buy ChatGPT? So Your question is if you will need to buy ChatGPT or OpenAI. So you will not need ChatGPT subscription. You will need an account in OpenAI. Yes. Well, it's not strictly mandatory to have an account in OpenAI. We will also talk about running things locally. You know, why I have this bar. Oh, okay, it went away. We will also run things locally with open source models, locally or somewhere in the cloud. But access to OpenAI makes things much, much, much simpler, right? Because you will not need to host like very heavy LLMs, so your computer will not freeze. So it will be much easier if you just sign up to OpenAI, have a key, and use this key as you go along the course. Of course, we will cover open source, and you will also try you will try different. You will get a chance to evaluate different options, but ideally, you have an OpenAI account to follow along the course. And we have an overview of all the lessons we will take. You can take a look here in the syllabus. This is the overview we have right now. It's still evolving. So the first module is more or less finished because we already did it in this video. But for the rest, it's still work in progress. It will still evolve. So come back later to check it, and we will give a more like a lengthier answer to this question actually on the launch date. So on launch date, there will be a presentation where we'll also talk more about the exact details of the curriculum. But right now you can just take a look at that and have some ideas what exactly we are going to cover. And by the way, there will be a competition too. So you will get not only to build a project, but also play with LLMs to solve mathematical problems. I think it's already on Kaggle. Maybe let me show you. It's still work in progress, so I haven't actually published it. Where is it? Yeah, maybe we will make an announcement soon. But yeah, we will have a competition where you will need to use LLMs to find answers to mathematical problems. That sounds cool, right? What we will be building at the end of this course. So at the end of the course, you will need to build a Q&A system that answers questions. So the running example we will use in the course will be FAQ documents. Do I have an example here? Maybe here. Yeah. So in DataTalksClub, we have 3 or multiple courses. And in these courses, we have these documents. These documents look like that. So these are frequently asked questions. And the structure is like there is a question, then there's an answer. There's a question, there's an answer. I think something is wrong here. Data broad. So question, answer, right? And what we're going to do is we will build a system where you can type in a question and then the system will respond with an answer. So this is what we're going to build in the course. And as a project, you will build something similar, but with your own data set. Not the one you personally created, although it's definitely a great option, but a data set you find online, somehow collect, maybe it's a forum, maybe it's Reddit, I don't know, something. And then based on that, you create a Q&A system. So this is what we're going to build. And each of you will first build the Q&A system for answering questions about the courses. And then you will build an individual Q&A system on your own dataset. Right? And you can already see a kind of, how to say, like already a working thing here. Like if you go to the code, notebook, Elasticsearch, so you will see an example of such a system, even though it's in a notebook, but there are examples. Like for example, how do I run Kafka? And then it gives an answer, how you run Kafka, right? Or I think there is an example like, am I too late to join the course? And you can still join the course after it started. Yeah. So this is something this is what we will build. Are we using tools like LangChain? So LangChain is a very convenient tool, and it's a wrapper around many, many things, right? So, and the question we as instructors have is whether we should spend time teaching LangChain or rather how things work inside LangChain. So we still have not decided. So for now, the thinking is this. So for now, we plan to not use LangChain in first modules, but introduce it at the end to show that, yeah, these things that we did without LangChain, this is how you use it with LangChain. But yeah, it's a high-level wrapper around many, many things. It does simplify some things, but then I think it's also helpful to kind of take a step back and see how things work without LangChain, and then see how to do the same thing with LangChain. And so far, we have these tips and tricks for advanced track systems. We'll probably rename it to best practices for RAC or something like that, or best practices, just best practices. And among other things, we'll cover LangChain there. So far, that's the idea. It might change. We will see. What knowledge is expected to take the course, and is there any API way? So I have answered this question. Go here, check the prerequisites. This is a course, so we expect you to be comfortable with programming. So this, the ideal, how to say, target audience for this course are engineers. So people who know how to program, people who know how to put different tools together and then make them work. So we will just talk about concepts, we will talk about different tools, and then you will put all these things together in order to have your projects. And as the second part, other APIs, paid APIs, up to you. I would suggest to spend some time, some money on OpenAI API and potentially on other things, like it's not the only LLM provider, but you can also do it without any paid services. And also good news is we partnered with Saturn Cloud. Saturn Cloud will give us access to notebooks with GPUs. So actually you can host LLMs there. And like, for example, for module 2, you can take heavier open source models and play with them on Saturn Cloud, because they will give us notebooks with GPUs. Yeah, this will be free up to a certain extent, of course. But when you want to actually host an LLM, let's say on a cloud, then yeah, you will need to pay for AWS, for example, or Google Cloud, or Azure, or whatever. Can we use editors like VS Code? If you don't know Jupyter Lab, you can. Yes. Can individual users access API keys in OpenAI? Yes, as an individual user, I have my own key in OpenAI. So yes. Is there a preferred platform for the course? No, you can use whatever you want. The content is in the pre-work videos is a bit hard for me to understand properly. Is this course suitable for me? Well, it depends on what you don't understand. It could be my fault because I did not explain some things properly. But if you don't explain technology or what I do, and you need to Google every single step I do or ask ChatGPT about every single step I make, then probably it's not suitable for you, right? So it depends on what is difficult to understand for you. But yeah, it's actually a good idea to check if this course is good for you or not, is to check this intro video, maybe both of them, and to see how much you can follow. And if this is super difficult for you, then I don't think this is the right course for you. So you'll need to work a bit on your engineering skills. And for that, you can take our other courses. For example, well, I don't even know, like if you need to work on, because all our courses are actually, they expect a certain level proficiency with programming. So maybe you need to take like a Python course before following our courses. In the course, we'll use local vector databases like ChromaDB or the cloud like Pinecone. So in the course, we will use Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch also has not only text search, but vector search. And then it's up to you what you use in your projects. You can use any database, vector database or text database vendor tool you like. Could be local, could be cloud, whatever, up to you. So you can play with different ones and see what you like more. So in the course, we just want to talk about concepts, right? And we illustrate these concepts with quite common popular tools. And then once you know that, okay, these are the building blocks, you can experiment with trying different, how to say, like this building block is a vector database or just database in general. And then you can try to put different databases and see what you personally like best. In this course, do we learn fine-tuning pre-trained LLM models? No, we don't cover fine-tuning LLM models. Will we deploy? We will be going through how to deploy LLM Zoomcamp projects. Yes, we should cover that too. Yeah, we will have, like, I'm still thinking exactly where, but in the course, in the project, I want you to deploy at the end to have something deployable, even if you don't actually put it online, but there are instructions of how to put things online. So you can personally open a UI and play with the thing. So we should definitely show you how to do that. And we expect you in the project to do something similar. Agentic systems. No, we will not be talking about agentic systems. If you know somebody who can talk about them, and preferably they are not vendors, put us in touch, and maybe we can organize a workshop. Will you suggest for us to learn from the OpenAI official docs to get more clarity on certain topics? I have not used these docs. I mean, I have not read the docs. I used the docs when I needed to, like, to do something. But also usually sometimes I just ask ChatGPT how to do this, and then it's clever enough to tell me how to do this, so I don't even need to go through official docs. Does this course will deal with LLM ops? Depending on what you mean by that. What exactly? Like, do you mean hosting LLM models? Do you mean evaluating LLM models? Or what? Because some of these things we'll talk about, like, for example, monitoring, orchestrating. But basically, like, the whole course is about using them in practice. I don't know if that qualifies as LLM ops or not. I hope it does. What will we use as a vector database? What other technologies? I said we'll use Elasticsearch as a vector database. Other technologies like OpenAI, Hugging Face. What else? Well, I mentioned like what is Saturn Cloud I mentioned? Yes, we'll use Saturn Cloud. Again, it's optional, but if you want access to free GPUs, you can use Saturn Cloud. Then we will use Mage. There will be also a workshop from DLT on ingesting data. What else? Yeah, and then Grafana and Prometheus for monitoring, I think. Is it okay to take the LLM without taking the MLOps course? Yeah, it's okay. Like these two courses are completely independent. Is the course only limited to building chatbots, or we will also understand limitations across building generic LLM solutions? So yeah, we will mostly focus on building a RAG system. And I wouldn't call it a chatbot, I would call it a question and answer system, because for a chatbot, you actually need to remember history, like previous conversation, which is still possible to do with the examples in the course, but we will mostly focus on like putting all these different things together in a system that works. And this hopefully will give you enough foundation to take it from there and learn everything you need. Like, okay, we have a Q&A system. How do we make a chatbot from this system? Or what are the pricing options, right? So when you see what are the building blocks, here you have an LLM, here you have a database, here you have this orchestrator. How much do I pay for each, right? The same goes to scalability. Okay, like is my database scalable enough to handle the load, right? So you can think of those things yourself. We will not be covering them, at least in depth. Maybe we will briefly touch them in the best practices module. But no, we just want to give you an introduction to LLMs and RAGs. And with this foundation, you will be able to learn about these topics. And of course, we welcome the feedback. So at the end, we will ask you for feedback, and maybe in the future iterations, we will see that this is such an important thing that we will also include in the future iterations of the course. But for now, we don't plan to go too deep into like these practical aspects, which are important, but we only have like 6-7 weeks, right? And we cannot cover everything, so we have to focus on something. And we combine the skills learned in this course to build full stack apps with fast API as a backend. Yeah, of course. Will we code locally or use Google Colab? With locally, so I still have not found a good LLM that works locally on a computer without GPU. I saw people in the course channel actually talked about doing this. There was, I don't remember the name of this LLM, but some course participants reported that they could run on a Mac some LLMs that work fine on CPU, but then it's a Mac, so they probably have like these fast chips that I don't know if it will work on Windows or not. I'll need to check that. So I think it was this Llama CPP that I was talking about. We can use Google Colab or Saturn Cloud or I don't know, AWS SageMaker or anything that has GPUs or don't have GPUs too. We will explore. I still need to check how to run it. And if somebody from you who listened to this video right now know how to have a distant LLM, how to run a decent LLM on a CPU, please get in touch. Maybe we can record the video together. So if you want to record the video, or if you're not into recording the video, maybe you can just tell me how exactly you did this, and then I will record the video and of course give you a shout out. Because I know it's possible. So if you want to help, please do. How much should a beginner know about privacy laws, privacy coding best practices if they want to make a local LLM for a company they are working for? Yeah, I don't know. Do you have a lawyer in your company? Maybe they should know it. If you don't have a lawyer in your company and you're concerned about that, maybe ask your manager to set up a call with a lawyer to ask about that. But at the very least, talk to ChatGPT and yeah, check what it says. And it will probably give you a meaningful answer, but at the end, it will ask you to talk to an actual lawyer, I think. Vector databases seem like a good option to give context quickly, but the option you showed with Elasticsearch seemed much superior to me. Will we continue? So we will use, like, I guess the spaces are missing because of the limits, right? And Slido. We will continue using Elasticsearch, yes. We will also explore vector databases. And in Elasticsearch, you can actually have vector search. So like we will not even need to try anything else. And yeah, I personally like Elasticsearch because I think with all this hype around vector databases, we forgot about good old technologies. And Elasticsearch and text search are one of those. So yeah, I think we should remember about the basics before trying like fancy things. What is the estimated average time per week needed to complete the course? Okay, so this is the first time we run the course. I don't know. I think it's between 5 maybe to 20 hours per week, depending on your background. And this is just an estimate based on the previous courses we did. So roughly 1 to 2 hours to watch the videos every week, and then like, of course, in ideal world, you just follow along the videos and everything works. But since all of us have different environment, different operational system, different hardware, different clouds, whatever, it's very likely that the things I show in the video will not work for you. You'll need to figure out how to solve it, and this will take time, right? And then, of course, for the homework, you will actually need to regurgitate all the videos. Did I say? Can I say regurgitate? Like go through the videos again, find the parts you need for doing the homework. So I would say 5 hours minimum. Yeah. And if for you you're not super comfortable with programming, with command line, with all the tools with extra tools we use, like I don't know, Git, whatever, then it will take more time. How do I know if I have been accepted for the course? You have been accepted for the course. Like if you filled in this form, you're accepted. If you did not fill this form, you're accepted too. The only thing you need to do is show up on the 17th of June, and this is also optional. But yeah, if you submit the first homework, you're in the course. And in order to submit the first homework, you don't need to do anything. You just need to go to our course platform, and then let me log out. You just need to log in, and that's all you need to do. So it's a good idea to sign up here and also sign up to our Telegram channel. Actually, I don't know why I still don't have a link here. I will add a link here to the course repo, but at the very least, sign up. You should start getting emails with updates, right? So then you will not miss the start date. Will there be an email before the start? Hopefully, yes. If you sign up and everything works, then you'll receive an email, but it's just an open access to the course via YouTube, GitHub, and to submit the homework, we'll use this course management platform. Will we be able to use command line tools that we can auto-generate Git commits messages based on recent code changes? I guess. Like I have nothing against these tools. I have not used them. If you use them and like them, go for it. It's not something we plan to cover in the course. At the end of the course, will we be able to have our own custom LLM bot with our data, which can be shared with friends or consumed with an app? Yes. This is what you will do in the capstone project at the end of the course, which I think is the next question, right? I think I answered both of these questions. What paid services are needed besides Open API key? Yeah, that's the main thing. Again, it's optional, but that's the best thing. Also, AWS will not hurt, but again, like I'm thinking that we will use Streamlit for building the UI, and you can deploy Streamlit for free. Like you don't have to pay for anything. So I think the bare minimum, like if you have the OpenAI key, and then you can deploy it with Streamlit, you don't need to do much. But like access to AWS or Google Cloud Platform or Azure or some other cloud will help. Will we look at using graph databases for hybrid search? Sometimes maybe better than using vector databases. It's not something we planned, but nothing stops you from using graph databases in your personal project. I mean, in your capstone project at the end of the course. How much memory does our GPU have to have locally? Well, so the thing is, with LLMs, you can always find an LLM that will not fit to your GPUs, right? No matter how many you have. So you'll just take the GPU that fits to you will take an LLM that fits to your GPU memory and use that. And yeah, this is something you can check. Like you just get your GPU, you get Llama 3, and you see if you can run it. If you cannot, then it means you don't have enough memory and you try something lighter. Will I be able to get an AI girlfriend with this course? Well, up to you. If this AI girlfriend talks about course questions, yes. But we will not cover prompt engineering to the extent you will be able to create an AI girlfriend, but it's up to you to spend a little bit of time learning it on yourself and then do that. For those Windows users, can we please remove dependency on use Docker on Windows? No, like you have to have Docker. And if you cannot install Docker on Windows, I'm sorry. You have to find a way to do this because like Docker is such a fundamental tool. As a developer, you kind of have to have it. Like maybe it's a strong opinion, but I cannot imagine a modern software development without Docker, unless maybe there's an alternative like Podman, I think. But like you have to somehow containerize your apps, right? If there's a way for you to do this on Windows without Docker, go for this. But Docker is such an industry standard, so I would just go for that. But yes, of course, you can use a cloud virtual machine, you can use code spaces, you can use whatever with Docker. It's up to you, right? But I would strongly recommend to find a way to install Docker on your Windows. I have a Windows Home, and actually I'm not supposed to be able to run Docker, yet a few days and I figured out how to do this. So of course, it took a lot of searching on Google. Probably these days it's simpler because we all have ChatGPT. But yeah, you need to find a way to do this. Other projects individual or in groups? If groups, how? So individual. So you don't form groups. Do we need to prepare some data to work with throughout the course? If you want, you can prepare the data, but we don't expect everyone to do that because it takes time. You can find a dataset online and use that. What is your greatest source of knowledge in this area? ChatGPT? Yeah, I mean, I just talk to it like. So, for example, when I was preparing for the workshop, and I wanted to use Elasticsearch. I just asked ChatGPT, "Hey, like, this is what I want to do. Explain how to do this." And then I took the output, I tweaked it a little bit, and used it in the workshop. So yeah, this is my greatest source of knowledge these days, because like it knows answers to everything. Well, sometimes it makes up answers, but I guess it's fine. After the course, can we have a small section that tell us how to expand our knowledge further in LLMs? I think I just answered that question. I mean, it's kind of silly, but like these days, ChatGPT is the answer to everything. Like sometimes in Slack, somebody has a problem and they have no idea how to solve it. Or maybe the answer to a question requires too much typing. So what I do is I just copy paste the question to ChatGPT, run it, and then share the answer. And then most often, like when I know the answer and it's just too long for me to type, most often ChatGPT gives a good answer, even better than what I had in my head. So yeah, like that's a great way of expanding your knowledge in any area, LLMs included. We will review options benchmark the token size of the chunk to embed our documents. You can do that, yeah. It's not something we will require you to do that, but you can do that. We'll have a comparison of different LLMs, OpenAI, Gemini, Llama. So we'll talk about metrics, and then using metrics, you can actually do this yourself. But like, yeah, of course, it's important to compare. But what we want to show you is this is the architecture. So this is how you put different things together, and then you can start playing with them. You can put OpenAI, you can put Gemini, you can put Llama and see what works best for you. We'll show you the framework for that, but doing the comparisons, it's up to you. I answered this question. There is a Telegram link in one of the newsletter, but channel contains old Zoomcamp and it's very confusing. Yeah, let me check. I don't know. So there is a new channel, Telegram channel for this course specifically. So maybe there is a wrong link somewhere. Maybe if you just write me in Slack, in DM, saying which newsletter was it, I'll sort it out and I'll try to find it myself. But like if you help me to locate it, it will be much faster. So thanks. And should I learn both ML and MLOps together or choose one of them and deep into that? I don't think this is related to this course, so I'll just skip that. Do we need to find our own data set for the project? Yes. Do LLMs need to be retrained on new data similar to traditional ML models? Do they need to be retrained less often? So in this course, we will not retrain them. And usually, like you don't retrain them, you fine tune them. But this is not something we will cover in the course. So in the course, we'll take a model as is and yeah, and we will see how to make it work with our own data. Can you give us examples of LLM projects that we can explore outside of chatbots after the course? So we will have a competition, as I mentioned. In the competition, we will use LLMs to solve mathematical problems. So this could be one of the examples. But it's actually a good idea to talk about other applications of LLMs. Yeah, maybe I can ask ChatGPT and then tell you the answer. Yeah, why not? If you run into errors starting Elasticsearch image, can you try limiting the maximum amount of memory Docker can use to 4 GB? Is this a question? That's probably not a question. It's a statement. Okay, thank you, L. Not everyone has API key. Would we have an alternative? Yes. I'm finishing data science course this month. Do you suggest to apply to this one? Why not? In the advanced RAG methods that you will cover, will you talk about the corrective RAG or knowledge graph enhanced LLM in RAG? No, I don't know. But like I don't have any knowledge about these things. So the other instructors, they are more experienced in LLMs than I. So maybe they will cover. But this is not something I can cover, definitely. Yes. how long are, and by the way, if you missed the LangChain part, just rewatch the video. So the entire video is there. When the video is over, just go to the beginning and rewatch it. How long are the lectures of the Zoomcamp? At what time does it start? So we will probably do it in the same way as other Zoom camps. We will pre-record the videos, and usually the videos are like 60 to 90 minutes long. I mean, in total. And you can watch them at your own time. Maybe with this course, we will actually do a few live streams. But yeah, if this happens, we will of course announce it in advance. Most likely it will happen at the time, roughly the same time as this stream right now. And then we will chunk them into modules. But yeah, everything will be recorded. It doesn't have to happen live. You will find all the links in this GitHub repo that this one, DataTalksClub LLM Zoomcamp repo. And we built a mini version of GitHub Copilot with the knowledge from this course. I don't think so. In your experience, jobs that require LLM knowledge expect to know much more than we learn in this course. Well, haven't applied to an LLM job yet. Maybe I should just do a few interviews and see what people ask. But yeah, so to me, building LLM applications is pure engineering task. So what you need to do is take a few tools, put them together, and have a framework for evaluating the quality of the entire thing. And this is what we plan to cover. I think my personal opinion that this is sufficient to get a job in the field, but also it also depends on what exactly the company wants. So if the company wants to build simple or to use existing LLMs, to build some applications like chatbots, Q&A systems, RAG, whatever, then this is definitely sufficient. But maybe they will need something else. I don't know. So you need to check. I expect the answer is yes, but it depends. Do you provide certificates? Yes, we do. But like with other courses, you need to complete a project in order to get a certificate. Do the datasets need to be already in the Q&A format to create a Q&A system? Will PDFs work? I think LangChain can extract text from PDF. Of course, if there is text in the PDFs, it's not like they can do optical recognition. You will probably need to do some pre-work of extracting text from PDFs, and then it will work. So it doesn't have to be in Q&A format. Any dataset will work as long as you can extract text from there. Yeah, it's okay. LLM Zoomcamp with chocolate mousse. Yes. What is the level of production ready will we achieve? What kind of levels of production ready do you know? Like, I don't know how to answer this question. It will be an okay solution that, of course, there will be room for improvement, but it will be a first version that you can deploy and start using. And then you will have monitoring to see when things break in order to react to them and fix them. Right? So it's not like, let's say, if we take a scale from 0 to 10, 10 being super production ready and 0 being just a bunch of nonsense on a laptop, it's like 6, 7, maybe. Yeah, 6, I guess. Yeah. Do we need to deploy anything to the cloud? You will not have to, but it's an option. Yeah, like LangChain. I don't want to answer it like for the fourth time. Are the pre-course workshops required before we go to the first lesson? No, but actually the first lesson and one of the pre-course workshops are kind of almost the same. Isn't OpenAI API now paid for everyone before we got? I don't know. like I pay for this. I use it. I pay for this. It's a good product. I don't mind paying for this. If you don't want to pay, there are alternatives which we cover in the course too. We will not cover agent-based apps. We will cover RAG with real-time data. I think yes, in one of the workshops. And I guess by real-time you mean like, let's say we have a knowledge-based, it got an update, and you want to index it in database immediately as this record appears, right? I believe this will be possible with the tools we cover. Will you discuss vector databases other than just Elasticsearch? No. Well, I think in one of the workshops, so we'll have a workshop here. So Adrian, who will be the instructor for the workshop, he will not use Elasticsearch. He will use something else. But no, we don't plan. Like, again, we just want to talk about concepts, not necessarily the tools, right? And then Elasticsearch is one of the building blocks that you can easily replace with something else, right? So you try Elasticsearch, you don't like it, you go with Pinecone, Quadrant, what else? There are a ton of them, right? You just pick whatever random name you like, use that, and if you like it, keep using it. If you don't, you can replace it with something else. What interests you the most about LLMs that made you want to teach these valuable skills, Alexey? Well, I think you probably guessed that I'm a big fan of ChatGPT. I use it for pretty much everything, like going to gym, learning German, preparing courses, programming. What else? Like personal stuff. Yeah. And it's fascinating like how much you can do with these technologies. So yeah, I guess that. But also ChatGPT is such an awesome product. Of course, we will not be able to build anything like that. But at least yeah, using this powerful tool, we can build something else. Like, isn't it awesome? I am new joining into this field. I self-learned Python, so this course will be easy to under what? To go, you mean, right? To take. Just check the pre-course workshop. If it's easy for you, then yes. If it's difficult, then no. But also, like in the pre-course workshop, we use Notebook. Also, we will use tools like Docker, Grafana, Prometheus. Like, you don't need to know Grafana and Prometheus, right? But you need to know what Docker is and how to run it. Right? So perhaps, did you actually talk about Docker here? Maybe I should mention that, because yeah, this is something I need to check with other instructors, but now I realize that in this part, monitoring and rails, we'll use things like Grafana. Not sure about Prometheus, where it comes from. We'll use Grafana, right? And the easiest way to run Grafana is with Docker. Then the easiest way to run Mage that we'll use is with Docker. The easiest way to run Elasticsearch is with Docker. The easiest way to run a vector database is with Docker. I think you got the point, right? So maybe I should also mention here Docker. So if you don't know Docker, now it's the best time to actually learn about that. And for that, you can check our Data Engineering Zoomcamp, Module 1. So it's a good intro to Docker. And another thing is you can check our ML course, ML Engineering course. So this is the link. So what I type is mlzoomcamp.com, and then it redirects to the repo. And then there is this module 5 that talks about Docker too. I would start with the data engineering one, right? And then if you do that, you're 100% ready for the course. Yeah, I don't know why I forgot about Docker, because This is important because we use it pretty much everywhere. Like even in the intro section, I used it. In the intro workshop, I used it. How come this course is free? Don't get me wrong, I love it, but I'm interested to hear about the planning of this course and the decision for it to be free. So in our community, in DataTalksClub, everything we do is free for the participants. And the way we earn money, the way I earn money, because this is my main focus. So this is what I do for work. Of course, I need money to survive, to pay for the flat I'm in. And I live in Berlin, so the flats are not they're expensive. They're not as expensive as in New York, for example, but still, like they're rather expensive. So the way it works is we have sponsors. We have sponsors for the community. We have sponsors for the courses, and this course is not an exception. So we have this section, supporters and partners, and you see these logos. So these companies actually support our courses, support the community, and the money we receive from them I use for paying, like a few people work for DataTalksClub, so they get their salaries, and the rest the expenses is something I use for paying for this flat, or buying mousses, and other stuff like that, other things. So yeah, so the course is free because I believe in free education. I took a lot of free courses. These courses help me, and yeah, in order for these courses to be free, somebody needs to pay for them. So it's not you, it's the companies. And actually, these companies are pretty cool. So it's not the first time we work with all of them. So we work with Mage before, we work with DLT Hub before, we work with Southern Cloud before. They're doing really, so they're making an amazing products. They're doing a really good job, and I'm very happy that we partnered on this course too. So I hope that answers your question. Is there a calendar where I can check when the classes workshops take place? No, like I don't know actually how many people use. We have calendars in other courses, but I don't know how many people use them. So like, do I need to create a calendar? Do I not need to create a calendar? And then also like, there are not that many events in the other courses too. So maybe what you need to do is just subscribe to the Telegram channel, and yeah. And if somebody wants to make a calendar and maintain it, by all means do that. But also, like when it comes to classes and deadlines, we have this course management platform. For example, this is an example for other course. We kind of see the deadlines here, right? So this is sort of calendar already, which should help you. No, there is a bug, I guess, which should help you plan your work. Ask LangChain to sponsor. Yeah, maybe. That's actually not a bad idea. And if somebody knows a contact from LangChain, maybe somebody who is into marketing or growth, maybe you can connect us. I will appreciate that a lot. Will be anything talking about text similarity and matching machine learning models? Not really, not in details at least. So we talked about similarity a little bit in this implementing the search engine. We'll also cover it a little bit in the vector databases module, but this is not something we want to talk about in details. So there is a very good book called Introduction to Information Retrieval. It's actually free, and it talks a lot about that. So I suggest to check that. Yeah. I don't know what is matching machine learning models, to be honest, but I think I answered this question already. Let me take a few other questions and we will finish for today. Like, does our local LLM app have to answer questions correctly like 30? Mm, I don't think we'll have requirement like that for the project. But like, don't you want to create an app that is okay? Oh, I don't know where you are coming from with this. Maybe your question is like, if I use a super simple LLM, like GPT-2 level LLM, then most of the time it outputs just some nonsense, which is not useful. But kind of the flow works. Like you put some things in, which makes sense, but then LLM is just too simple to make sense from this, and then it just outputs some garbage, right? Um, yeah, like maybe it's a thing, but like, don't you want to build something that is cool, right? Because like in our other courses, in for example, in machine learning course, there is no criteria about the accuracy of the model, because it really depends on the data set. And for some data sets, you can achieve good accuracy. For some data sets, you cannot, right? And I think we will stick to the same idea. So we will not require you to achieve a certain level of accuracy. But yeah, it's up to you. I think you'll be able to make it work with maybe this Llama CPP or something like that, even if the only thing you have is a computer with a CPU. Will you teaching assistants be active on Slack to help students when needed? That's what we do in all other courses. But it's amazing that we have a community. It's not just me answering questions, but because it's a community, people help each other. So when you see that somebody asks a question and you know the answer to this question, please help us to answer that, because this is a free course, and yeah, we will need your help. So when we already have 11,000 registrations for the course, it's not easy for me to answer all the questions you have, and you will have a lot of questions. So please help me and other assistants, other instructors to actually do that. And I see that this is happening in other courses too. So most of the time I open, for example, right now we have a course about MLOps. I open Slack, I see like 13 new messages, and I'm like, okay, I don't know how I will answer them, but then I scroll and see that they are already answered, most of them. So this is cool. Big thanks to the community. Thanks for your support. I don't know what I would do without you. Probably we wouldn't run courses like if you didn't help with that. So please, if you see somebody needs help and you can help, please do that. But of course, I'll be active on Slack as always. The instructors will be active on Slack at least in the week where they are the main instructors. And the rest of you will also be active on Slack, hopefully. So it will be an awesome experience. You will love this. You will love the course. And yeah, I'll enjoy this too. And with that, I will probably stop now, because there will be another live stream in half an hour. I need a break. And if you are doing our MLOps course in half an hour, less than half an hour, we'll have another stream, join it. If you don't, then we will see each other in 3 weeks when the course starts. And yeah, let's have fun together and see you soon. So have a great rest of the week and the other 2 weeks, and see you soon.